Good evening, everyone, and welcome. It's really wonderful to see so many familiar faces coming out to support our EGMO team. My name is Nathan Ford. I'm the CEO at the Australian Maths Trust. Thank you so much for coming to the 2022 European Girls Mathematical Olympiad team announcement. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of country throughout Australia and recognize their continuing connection to land, waters, and culture. We pay our respects to their elders past, present, and emerging. I extend this respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples in attendance today. Just before we kick off, I'll cover off on some Zoom protocols. Firstly, I'd like to remind everyone that we are recording this Zoom session. If you please mute your microphones if you're not talking, that'll help cut down on any background noise. Also, to have the best viewing experience, you may prefer to put your screen on speaker mode. You can select this mode by clicking the view icon in the top right-hand corner of your screen and selecting speaker. This mode automatically features each speaker in turn as they are talking. So, welcome to all our supporters, our mentors, teachers, volunteers, principals, staff, board members, family, and friends. I'd like to welcome and introduce Ben Kirk, who's recently joined the Trust as our Director of Olympiads. He'll be working with our Director of Trainings to ensure our program's continued success, as well as playing an integral role as we plan to host the International Mathematical Olympiad in Melbourne in 2025. I'd also like to extend a very warm welcome to Australia's Chief Scientist, Dr. Kathy Foley, who is our keynote speaker for the evening. Welcome to our EGMO team leader, Tanen Shaw, and her deputy, Sally Sang. And finally, and most importantly, welcome to our EGMO team and Team Reserve. To the team, I'd like to say that you have achieved great individual success in being selected to the team. And I hope that tonight and in the weeks and months to come, you take some time to reflect upon what you've accomplished. Your hard work, dedication, and passion for maths and problem solving cannot be overstated. 2022 is actually the 5th year we will have a team participating in EGMO. So you are joining an inspirational group of alumni, staff, and supporters who have helped open this door to opportunity. And I know you will all help it keep open. Well done, and make sure you have some fun along the way. Our EGMO program receives grant funding from the Australian government through the Department of Industry, Science, Energy and Resources via the Inspiring Australia Science Engagement Program. It is also supported by Optiver, the Trust's national sponsor of the Australian Informatics and Mathematical Olympiads. Without their assistance, this program would not be possible, and I thank both the department and Optiver for their ongoing support. So let's kick off. Joining us now is Mr. Dennis Trewin AO, Chair of the Australian Maths Trust. Dennis?
Right, well, thank you very much, Nathan. First, I would like to also welcome and thank everyone for attending this important virtual event. It really is appreciated. The programs and training delivered by the Australian Maths Trust are supported by a large number of volunteers working on various committees to develop problems and deliver competitions. And I would like in particular to acknowledge the contribution of these guests at today's team announcement. In particular, I would like to welcome Emeritus Professor Cheryl Prager, AC, and a Fellow of the Academy of Science from the University of Western Australia. And she also was an inaugural Australian Maths Trust board member and a former chair of the Australian Mathematics Olympiad Committee, whose contributions to the Mathematical Olympiad programs and focus on increasing girls' participation in mathematical competitions have been invaluable. In fact, it was Cheryl who was the driving force behind the Trust supporting an Australian team to enter the EGMO competition. Secondly, I would like to congratulate the chosen girls on their selection in the Australia's 4th EGMO team. Our first team in 2019 came 20th, which was an astounding effort first up. Our 2020 team did even better, 14th out of 50 countries. And our 2021 team did even better still, 12th out of 51 countries. So that gives you something of a target, but it will not be easy to beat. And although it's always good to have a goal, the most important thing for you is to enjoy and learn from the experience. Third, I'd like to wish you the best of luck in EGMO itself. It will be based in Hungary, but unfortunately, because of a pandemic, it cannot be there physically. However, you will be able to enjoy the friendship with fellow team members and learn off their experiences. Mathematics is such an important life skill. It is essential for so many occupations. Epidemiologists have become very well known in recent years, architects, engineers, fashion designers, and nearly all the trades, just to mention a few occupations. Improving female participation in STEM, and mathematics in particular, is a high priority for Australia. Australia will not be able to achieve its full potential whilst the female student population is not as engaged with mathematics as it should be, given that mathematics is so important for so many different walks of life. The Australian Mathematics Trust is very pleased to play its part in ensuring some of our most capable girls have an opportunity to demonstrate their skills on an international stage. We hope the EGMO experience will inspire you to pursue the studies and use of mathematics in the next phases of your life. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Dennis. I would now like to introduce you to our keynote speaker, Australia's Chief Scientist, Cathy Foley. Dr. Foley is the 9th appointed Chief Scientist and the 2nd woman to hold this position. She began her work in solid-state physics and its applications in superconductivity, combining material science, quantum physics, and research translation. Dr. Foley's team undertook pioneering work on squid systems for geomagnetic exploration of minerals and were responsible for the development and commercialization of LANTEM, leading to the discovery of mines worth over $6 billion across the world. Dr. Foley is an inspiration to women in STEM across the globe and is committed to tackling gender equality and diversity in the science sector. Dr. Foley.
Thanks so much, Nathan, and hello, everyone. It's really exciting that this is an opportunity for you to be selected to represent Australia at the European Girls Mathematical Olympiad. I think it is such an honour, and I know how much work you've put in to get here, and I'm looking forward to the formal announcement soon. This should be the headline in tonight's news stories across the media, and I hope it will be, if it's not tonight, someday in the future. So look, thanks for inviting me and giving me this opportunity to speak to you, some of our country's future mathematicians and statisticians too, I hope. I only wish I was able to meet you in person because I don't know about you, but I'm getting a bit sick of talking to people over Zoom. So hopefully we can do that one day soon. Anyway, I'm speaking to you from the lands of the Camaragal people up in the northern part of Sydney, up near Ku-ring-gai National Park. And I want to pay my respects to them and the traditional custodians of all the lands that you're coming from today to join us together for this very important event. So I want to start by acknowledging the teachers and the parents among you here tonight. Your role is so important in inspiring young people, especially other girls, to maths and science. And I have to say, I give thanks every day to my own teachers who played a part in my career pathway. I also want to thank the organisers too for making sure that they can get the funding and the support to make this all come together, because it's so important. We know that women remain a minority in digital information technologies, in computing, in physics, mathematics, and engineering, not just in Australia, but it's actually a global issue. And it's worrying because these are the fields that are driving the digital revolution that is affecting not just jobs of tomorrow, but also our way of being able to deal with the world around us. So we see you as the potential role models for other young girls and women to see the possibility of maths as being something for them. So no pressure, but you're going to be playing a really important role, not just attending and being part of the European Girls Mathematical Olympiad, but you're also going to be role models of the future too. So we need young people like you for the jobs of the future. And there's going to be in space, in defense, in cyber and quantum, but also environmental management and biomedicine and advocacy. And every one of these roles and those career areas need people with analytical skills, which of course mathematics brings. We won't be successful in these areas, solving the big problems that we know we're facing in the world today, unless we use our full human potential. And it's not only about more people trained in maths, but it's also about more qualified women, people of diverse backgrounds, and diverse life experiences as well. So as Australia's Chief Scientist, one part of my job is to promote the role of science and encouraging people like you, our scientists and mathematicians and statisticians of the future, to follow your dreams. And I love this part of my job. And it might be probably, in fact, I think it is the most important part of what I do. So just want to spend a minute thinking about the skills for the future. I know it can be very hard when you study a subject such as maths to picture your career because you can't see the specific job you're going to do. Everyone has a pretty good idea of what a lawyer or a doctor does, but what does a mathematician do? And where do they go to work every day? Well, in my view, every scientific team needs to have someone with mathematics and statistical expertise embedded right in there from the start. I know all the projects that I've worked on and everything I've done when I've had maths and statisticians behind me, I've always had the best outcomes. Every innovation, every prototype relies on mathematics to prove its existence and its worthwhileness. In that regard, I think mathematics is an absolutely foundational discipline with no limitations to where it can be applied. I want you to bring together your interests and your passions and to create a world that's sustainable, prosperous, and bringing well-being to everyone. And digital technologies are rapidly bringing this to life. And they're no longer sci-fi dreams of yesterday. They're becoming a reality today. And digital technologies simply don't exist without mathematical sciences. I'm just going to give a couple of examples because it's really incredibly versatile about where maths qualifications can take you. First one, a senior data scientist for Tennis Australia, Dr. Stephanie Kovaletnik, uses mathematical processes like statistical modeling, which shows how to update probabilities with new information, and machine learning to quantify things like how a player's physicality might affect their performance. Pretty amazing. Or a Bank of America's chief data scientist recently explained how applicable maths and statistics are to programming and to data science roles, as well as the ability to communicate and visualize results. And that's really important because we've got a lot of machine learning coming along and we need people to be able to manage that too. And the final person who I want to refer to is Hugh Possingham. He's Queensland's chief scientist. And he's used mathematics and statistics to change the way we approach environmental management and respond to climate change. What he's done has been unbelievable. So there are so many fields that will absolutely benefit from your skill set. And the world is your oyster. And I love that you have put yourself out there to get where you want to go to. This is the first step, and it's really exciting to see. I know you've still got a way to go, and it's pretty amazing that you're going in this competition. But congratulations again on this great achievement to be part of the team, and good luck with the competition. So back to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Foley, for your inspirational words and for your attendance today. I'd now like to introduce our EGMO team leader, Tanen Shaw, who will introduce the team. Tanen.
Thanks, Nathan. And thank you, Dennis and Kathy, and everyone here, family, friends, teachers, past Olympians, supporters far and wide. I think it's very much leadership like yours that drives change and that inspires generation after generation, and inspires not just us to challenge ourselves, to dream big and aim high, but to look at things like gender diversity in STEM fields and to try and be part of the solution. And this is certainly what EGMO is about, providing a platform to support mathematics enrichment for girls. EGMO was officially launched back in 2011 on the 100th anniversary of International Women's Day. And at the first EGMO, which was in Cambridge just a year later, there were 70 contestants from 19 countries, and almost all of those were European. And now, just a decade later, there are 3 times as many contestants, and about a third of those 50 plus teams are just like us, guest teams from outside Europe. So EGMO is certainly becoming quite the international competition. And soon enough, I have no doubt that it will be the International Girls Mathematical Olympiad. Australia has participated since 2018, so far attending 2 EGMOs face-to-face in Florence and Kiev, and 2 virtually, and they were hosted by the Netherlands and Georgia. And every Australian team member has done us proud and contributed to our overall performance, which in the last 2 years, as Dennis said, has risen to an incredible 12th out of 50 countries. And now each of our past Olympians are studying in STEM fields in their first, second, third, or fourth year of universities. Some of them are across the other side of the world in universities in the US, and others are closer to home. Though given the travel restrictions between states of late, perhaps not that close to home. But what a team our past Olympians continue to be, pursuing their interests at the highest level, thinking with creativity, working with grit and determination, and inspiring everyone around them. And it's so wonderful to have so many past EGMO team members, not just going on to achieve greater things in mathematics and STEM, but continuing to give back to the Australian Olympiad program by marking and teaching and mentoring and, being here and supporting. As outstanding females in what is still a male-dominated field, they are key to shaping the future of mathematics in general. And it's a future that, to me, is looking brighter and brighter as time goes by. Now, for these past 4 years of Australia's participation at EGMO, Michelle Chen has been the Australian Deputy EGMO Team Leader. She has recently stepped down from this role, and I don't think she's here tonight, but I did want to take some time now to thank her myself, as well as on behalf of the Maths Trust, for everything she's done. She was an IMO bronze medalist in 2016, and she's been a role model and an inspiration, not just to our EGMO team members, but definitely to me and to the many, many students she's taught at schools in Melbourne and at many, many training schools. She's a key member of our EGMO family and our Australian Olympiad community. And while she's not retiring from that completely, for now, she'll be focusing on starting in her new full-time role at Google. So we wish her all the very best as she starts on this new chapter of her life. I'd also like to welcome Sally Zhang, who's been appointed the Australian Deputy EGMO Team Leader for 2022. She went to 2 IMOs and was a bronze medalist back in 2001 and 2002, and since then has had a most varied career, including becoming a specialist in anaesthetics and a mum of 2 young daughters. But she never lost her love for solving a good maths problem, and has always had a keen interest in encouraging young female mathematicians to pursue their passion. So it's absolutely wonderful to have her in this role. And it's also wonderful to have our past EGMO Olympians back in the fold and contributing as staff as well. And we have past EGMO gold and silver medalists, Grace He and Claire Huang, in the roles of observers for 2022. But perhaps this is enough talk about our involvement in EGMO to date and the least important members of the 2022 Australian contingent. This EGMO team announcement is about the incredibly talented and driven and resilient Australian EGMO team for this year. Only some of the team have ever even been to a face-to-face camp. With the exception of a pair of siblings, each team member has only ever met virtually. But despite the challenges of training schools on Zoom and exams sat at home and the past several years of general upheaval, each member of our team has developed into such outstanding problem solvers with extensive repertoires across a range of Olympic topic areas. Their solutions to problems are beautiful and they're elegant and inspired. And to achieve the level they have, they've had to be utterly patient and diligent and determined. They have achieved at the highest levels in our national contests. And each of them are seniors at the upcoming AMOC selection school and are in serious contention for the IMO 2022 as well. So EGMO 2022 is planned to be a hybrid event. They're hoping to have at least 60% of the European countries participating from April 6th to April 12th in Eger in Hungary. But unfortunately for us, travel is not on the cards just at this stage, but nevertheless, we're still looking forward to competing on that international stage and showing the world just what we're made of down under. So without further ado, I'd like to virtually present to you our EGMO team for 2022. I believe they'll be spotlighted, so maybe if in speaker mode, they'll come up on your screen instead of me. So in alphabetical order, we have Ensu Choi, who's in year 11 from Brisbane State High in Brisbane. Our second team member in 2 years from Brisbane State High. She comes from a tight-knit and supportive crew there in sunny Queensland, and has been puzzling over maths problems with a smile on her face ever since I met her back in November 2019. Congratulations, Ensu. Cloris Zhu in year 10 from Borkham Hills High School, my old stomping ground in Sydney. She was our reserve team member in 2021. And Cloris made an entrance onto the Australian contest scene just 2 years ago as a year 8 student, achieving a silver medal in the AMO. And she's simply continued to hone her skills and has matured into an impressive problem solver indeed. And she's only in year 10. So well done, Cloris. Iris Su, also in year 10 from Borkham Hills High School. Iris certainly has an equally impressive story as her twin sister Cloris, also achieving a silver medal in her first AMO in year 8 and adding to her achievements since then. So often these sisters present such different solutions to the same problem with such distinct thinking, and it comes as no surprise that they can push each other to greater and greater heights. Perhaps this is partly in competition, but no doubt also in collaboration as well. Grace Chang Yuan in year 12 from Methodist College in Melbourne. Grace is utterly passionate about sharing her love for problem solving and spreading the word that embracing challenging math problems is not something to run from or to be scared of or to avoid. Embracing challenge is fun and interesting and absolutely rewarding. She's in year 12 and I know she's keen to be involved in encouraging girls in mathematics however she can. So we already know she's changing the mathematical landscape for the future. And finally, our reserve team member for 2022, Crystal Jin in year 11 from James Roos Agricultural High School in Sydney. I believe Crystal and Ensu are the only two who have actually met in person, and that was maybe for about 5 days in November 2019. Crystal loves a good geometry problem, and training alongside the team, she just continues to expand and refine her skill set. So congratulations. I thought maybe we could unmute ourselves briefly and just, if you could join me in actual round of applause in congratulating these girls. Would be fantastic. Certainly we wish them the very best over the next 7 weeks, not just preparing for EGMO, the EGMO competition, but also for IMO team selection, which is taking place at the end of next month. Finally, I just wanted to say that this is my last EGMO as team leader for Australia. I have a baby daughter, apparently just over 30 centimeters long and weighing just 2/3 of a kilogram, getting ready to enter this world. I'm so proud to have been part of Australia's first handful of journeys to EGMO and of what each and every team has and continues to achieve. And of course, of our 2022 team on their way to another virtual EGMO. I'm so excited for a future that I know will be filled with so many wonderful role models, which include these young women. At the moment, I'm constantly looking at lists of baby names, top baby names for 2022, baby names that start with A, baby names with 3 syllables, you name it, I've browsed that list. But there's a refined list out there of baby names for Australian girls with grit and resilience, girls who are always up for a challenge and who are going to change the world. And added to that refined list are the names Ensu, Cloris, Iris, Grace, and Crystal. You know, with these girls at the helm, I think the future of women in STEM is bright indeed. So congratulations. We're so very proud of you and we're excited for the future, near and far.
Thank you so much, Tanen. And I would like to, on behalf of the Trust, thank you for all of your contributions and service in getting the EGMO initiative up and running. You've done an absolutely phenomenal job. While you're going off to be a mum, we do hope that you'll come back and help with the IMO, please, in 2025. I will just say this, every single year we've done a team announcement, your introductory speech has gotten better and better. And every year I say that surely Tanen can't top herself this year, and you have. So thank you on behalf of the Trust, on behalf of the Australian Mathematical Olympiad Committee and the EGMO community for everything that you have done. Now I will turn over to our new Deputy Team Leader, Sally Sang.
Good evening, everyone. And thank you, Tanen, very much for that very kind introduction. I would also like to thank Michelle Chen, the previous Deputy Team Leader, for all her work and contribution to the Australian EGMO program since its inception in 2018. Well, taking on this role as Deputy Team Leader of EGMO has prompted me to reflect on my own experiences with the Australian Maths Olympiad program. I actually met Tanen at my first ever Maths Olympiad camp back in December 1998, when I was a Year 8 student. There were only 4 girls at this camp, including Tanen and me, out of a total of 25 students. All the lecturers and tutors were brilliant and inspirational, and also male. Perhaps unsurprisingly, as most of them were past IMO members. And at that time, Australia had not had a female IMO participant since 1991. By the way, this was a drought that I was very proud to break in 2001, alongside my very brilliant friend and fellow student, Bobby Ranchin. Fast forwarding to the present, and it has been so wonderful to see how the program has expanded over the years with so many more girls taking part. And not just taking part, but actually having opportunities to excel on the world stage. Partly because of the EGMO program over the past few years, there is now no shortage of female role models at Maths Olympiad camps. Our EGMO team members today will be, and indeed already are, role models for future students of mathematics. In a society where women have more opportunities than ever before, but remain underrepresented in leadership positions and on boards, the importance of role modeling cannot be understated. Grace, Iris, Cloris, Youngsu, and Crystal, in successfully achieving selection for the EGMO team, you have shown exceptional skill, determination, and enthusiasm. These characteristics will stand you in good stead both now and into the future. I would like to extend you my warmest congratulations for what you have already achieved, and know that you will do Australia proud in the upcoming EGMO competition.
Thank you very much, Sally, and welcome aboard. Optiver has been supporting our Olympiad programs since 2016. When we approached them in 2018 with the idea of forming an Australian EGMO team, they were incredibly supportive and have been with us every step of the way since. Thank you very much to Optiver, and we'll now play a short pre-recorded video they have made for the team.
Huge congratulations to Grace, Iris, Cloris and Yunsu for your exceptional determination and for being selected for the Australian EGMO team. I'm Sarah Perrins, Head of Graduate Recruitment at Optiver, and we're proud sponsors of the Australian Maths Trust. As a tech-driven trading firm and leading global market maker, Optiver highly values people with maths skills. All of our people come from highly quantitative backgrounds and are mathematically inclined. We use maths every day to set the buy and sell price of financial instruments, which provides liquidity and stability to the market and effectively improves the market. We are in transformative times, and many of the jobs today's students will go into do not yet exist. Our students therefore need to equip themselves with the mindsets and transferable skills they'll need to adapt and thrive in the transformative age. Math skills are fundamental to critical reasoning and problem solving, which will be essential for around 3/4 of the fastest growing occupations, which makes initiatives like EGMO critical. So a big thank you to our Australian team, parents and supporters, and of course the Australian Maths Trust. Whatever path these young women choose to take in their careers, their future is bright. All the very best for the competition. Thank you.
Thanks to Oliver for that message. Now I'd like to hand over to the chair of the Australian Mathematical Olympiad Committee, Dr. Norm Dugg.
Thanks, Nathan. Good evening to all guests who could make it tonight, and an especially warm welcome and my sincerest congratulations, of course, to this year's Australian EGMO team. This year, as we've heard, marks Australia's 5th participation at EGMO. Looking back, I'm incredibly glad that we took the bold decision to participate and to commit ongoing support to develop the mathematical talent of all prospective participants. In that relatively short time span, so much has been achieved thanks to the dedication of all staff, students and sponsors involved. I'd like to pay particular thanks to 2 people, Tanen for taking what was a speculative idea and putting significant time, energy and expertise into bringing it to realization. In particular with Tanen stepping out of the role, we hope she won't step out too far, and we may be calling on her expertise again in the future. And of course to Sally Tsang for recently stepping into the role of EGMO Deputy Team Leader. That Sally has committed to juggling this alongside her other roles as an anaesthetist and as a parent of 2 young girls is testament to how highly members of our community value Australia's Mathematical Olympiad program and EGMO in particular. And finally to the EGMO team members, Ensu, Cloris, Iris, Grace, and EGMO Team Reserve Crystal. I'm absolutely delighted to be able to celebrate your amazing mathematical achievements. My own participation in Australia's Maths Olympiad program, long before any of you were born, sparked a passion for maths that has given me great joy and led to my current career as an academic mathematician. Your own participation in EGMO is a culmination of a fantastic series of achievements, but also I'd like to remind you, just the beginning of many, many more. I hope that your time in the Maths Olympiad program has nurtured your significant talents and allowed you to reconnect with like-minded souls and also given you the confidence to successfully use your mathematical thinking and problem solving in your future lives. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Norm. That concludes our announcement ceremony. Thank you to all of you for joining us, to our guest speakers, Dr. Foley, Tanen, and Sally, and everyone who does so much to support this initiative. Congratulations again to the team. And thanks also to Angela Di Pasquale, Ben and Donna in the office who support the program as well. Best of luck to the team as you prepare for April. You're going to do brilliantly. Have fun, enjoy the competition, and take pride in your amazing achievements. Congratulations again, and thank you. Good night.